Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar for funding opportunities at BIRAC. I'll be the host for this session. I am Rohini Chawla, and I'm currently managing Biotechnology Ignition Grant at Startup Innovation and Incubation Center, IIT Kanpur, which is one of the 8 BIG partners with BIRAC for BIG. So today, for discussing the various funding opportunities at BIRAC, we have with us Dr. Prachi Kaushik from BIRAC. Dr. Kaushik is working as a manager in the investment group at BIRAC and manages the BIPP scheme. She is also involved with other activities such as technical evaluation of various proposals, which comes under the variety of thematic areas such as agriculture, industrial biotechnology, or environment, energy, and secondary agriculture, and across the various schemes. So in today's session, she will be talking about she'll be touching upon on the various funding programs at BIRAC, such as BIG, which is basically ideation to the proof of concept funding program. Then she'll be touching upon an SBI the PP program, the PACE program. We'll be discussing more in detail about it. PACE is basically for promoting academic research to conversion to enterprise. Then she will be also talking about the Ifos program, for which also the call is currently open. So I'll request Prachi to take over now and start with the about the various discussion on the various opportunities at BIRAC. Over to you, Prachi.
Thank you, Rohini. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank SIC IIT Kanpur for providing me this opportunity to brief you regarding various schemes that are available at BIRAC for different stakeholders in the biotechnology area. So, Rohini, are we sharing the screen, or should I do it from my end? The presentation?
You can start sharing the screen, Prachi.
Okay, I'll do. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes. Before we start with the presentation, if anyone in the audience is having any kind of questions, just try to take up the questions at the end of the session. So we can start with the presentation now.
Yes. The topic of my presentation is funding opportunities at BIRAC, and I work as a manager at investment team, and I manage the BIPP scheme, which is for late stage validation. So as I begin my presentation, we'll get to know about the different schemes that are being run by BIRAC. So BIRAC is a Government of India enterprise. It's a Section 8 not-for-profit company which was developed under the aegis of Department of Biotechnology in the year 2012. And this foundation day, which falls on 20th of March, we would be celebrating our 10th anniversary. So BIRAC supports startups, entrepreneurs, and SMEs to develop innovative, affordable biotech products and technologies to address the unmet needs. Biotechnology sector, as we all know, it has its various set of challenges which are pretty unique to this sector. First of all, it requires a heavy investment. It involves high risk, and the products and technologies usually have a very long gestation period to mature. The success rate is low, but yes, it is a highly rewarding sector. BIRAC is a central agency that empowers, enables, and accelerates biotech innovation ecosystem in India. Under biotechnology, we cater to all the thematic areas such as the healthcare, wellness, agriculture, industrial biotechnology, waste management, sanitation, and clean energy. Agriculture includes veterinary as well as aquaculture as well. So we support early and late stage research initiatives through various funding schemes. First of all, I would like to highlight whom do we support through our various schemes. We support individuals, we support startups, SMEs, various biotechnology companies, research institutions, universities, NGOs, and societies. And we support the entire chain of product or technology development right from the inception of an idea, leading through the development of proof of concept, early and late stage validation, up to the scale up, pre-commercialization, and commercialization. So we have a sustained handholding from right from the lab till the market. We have various schemes that are curated for each and every step of the technology development. Starting with ideation, we have SIP and Srishti programs wherein the fellows are, this is the first exposure that these fellows get through the product development having translational potential. Then for ideation, then for developing an idea into a product and technology, we have our BIG scheme. For the development of proof of concept, for academia, we have AIR scheme, and for the companies, we have SBIRI scheme. SBIRI schemes also encompasses the early stage development and validation. And for more mature technologies coming from companies, we have BIPP, and for academia, we have CRS. Then we have our product commercialization unit, which helps in the commercialization of the developed product or the technology and lead it to the market. First of all, I would like to touch upon the Biotechnology Ignition Grant Scheme, which is shortly known as BIG scheme. The main objectives of the scheme are it fosters the generation of ideas having commercialization potential, and it supports the projects up to the proof of concept stage and encourages the researchers to take technology closer to the market through the development or establishment of a startup. In this way, it helps to stimulate the enterprise formation among the individuals. So we have two calls for this scheme in a year, 1st January and 1st July, and each innovator receive up to rupees 50 lakhs for research projects with commercialization potential with a duration of up to 18 months. And the scheme is currently managed through 8 big partners who work with the grantees to provide mentoring, monitoring, networking, and other business development related activities. Now, this slide shows the eligibility criteria of the applicant. Both individual as well as companies or LLPs are eligible to apply under this scheme. Individual entrepreneur with graduate degree in any discipline or research scholar or a scientist can apply. The applicant must be incubated in a recognized incubator. And whereas when company and LLPs are concerned, these companies or LLPs should have been registered through Indians Company Act or LLP Act. And the incorporation date should not be earlier than 5 years from the date of closing of a particular BIG call. The company or the LLP should have its own in-house R&D facility, which should be functional and adequate to execute the project. And in case they don't have their own in-house R&D, then the company or the LLP should be incubated with a recognized incubator. So before I proceed with my further schemes, which is the programs I4 and the PACE program, I want to give an idea regarding the technology readiness levels, because much of the segregation of the projects in I4, through I4 we have BIPP and Sbi, is done basically through the TRL levels of the project. So keeping NASA TRLs as a reference, BIRAC has come up with detailed definitions of levels in the TRL scale for various thematic areas such as devices and diagnostics, drugs and drug delivery, biosimilars, vaccines, and industrial biotechnology, agriculture, veterinary sciences, and aquaculture, under which these proposals are invited. So you can just log on to BIRAC website and see the TRL levels for respective thematic area. So these TRL definitions basically guide the innovators and the evaluators to identify the stage of the technology under development more objectively. And they also, these definitions have been framed so that, the innovators gets an idea of the regulatory approvals and quality certifications that may be relevant for the progression of TRLs and the commercialization of the technology or the product in India. Coming on to the Ifos program, which is the intensifying the impact of industrial innovation. We have 3 calls for this program each calendar year. Starting 15th of February, the call is currently open and it will close on 31st of March at 5:30 p.m. So this is an open call right now, and it is a challenge-based call. So for I4 and PACE both, we alternate the general and a regular and a challenge-based call. So that we don't want to lose regular call as an open call. So all the thematic areas are open, so PI can choose the the problem statement on their own and they can apply. But for challenge areas, we have a specific RFP which is advertised along with the advertisement at BIRAC website, and all the indicative areas where the priority areas where the proposals are invited are mentioned. And next call is announced on 15th of June, which stays open for roughly around 45 days. And our third call is announced on 15th of October and closes on 30th of November. So under I4, we have 2 schemes, SBIRI and BIPP schemes. So SBIRI is Small Business Innovation Research Initiative, and it supports development and initial validation of new products and technologies. The endpoint of the proposed study should be TRL 6 or below, whereas BIPP, which is Biotechnology Industry Partnership Program, it supports validation, demonstration, and pre-commercialization of products and technologies. And the endpoint of the proposed study should be TRL 7 or above. To summarize, we can say that SBRI is an early stage validation scheme and BIPP is a late stage validation scheme. Then we have differences in the funding structure of both of these schemes. So I would be taking up these schemes in detail in my next few slides. So I would describe the funding mechanism individually in detail. So I4 program basically for companies. So the company or an LLP are the primary applicant under this program. The proposals can be submitted solely by a company incorporated under the Companies Act or limited liability partnership incorporated under the LLP Act, or it can be a joint venture either in the form of a company or an LLPP, or by any of the above entities, companies, LLPs, jointly with other private or public partner universities or institutes. Now, for the company, minimum 51% of the shares of the company should be held by Indian citizens holding Indian passport. And for LLPs, minimum half of the person who subscribe their names to the LLP document as its partners should be Indian citizens. Other than this, the applicant company or LLP should either have adequate in-house facility to address the project implementation, or it should be incubated with any recognized incubation facility. Coming in detail to SBIRI scheme. So Sbi scheme, as it is shortly called as, it is the India's first biotech funding scheme which was launched by DBT in the year 2005 to promote public-private partnership. The scheme facilitates early stage research which is undertaken by industries, startups or LLPs either alone or in collaboration with academia in the field of biotechnology for developing a product or a technology. And like I described earlier, it has 3 calls for proposals alternating between regular and challenge call. There is no ceiling with regard to the total cost of the project under this scheme. Now, this is the funding mechanism which is available in the scheme guidelines document as well, which is there at our BIRAC website. So if a project cost is for up to 50 lakhs, then the 100% of the project cost is given by BIRAC as grant in aid. And in case the project cost exceeds 50 lakhs, then rupees 50 lakhs plus the 50% of the amount which exceed 50 lakhs is contributed by BIRAC, and rest of the amount has to be met through company contribution. And in case of collaborative projects, the contribution to academic collaborator will be over and above this amount. And like it's for academic collaborator, they are not supposed to make any contribution. Since its launch in the year 2005, this slide summarizes the impact the Sbi scheme has created so far. So far, we have received more than 2,000 proposals and more than 300 proposals has been sanctioned. Close to 400 beneficiaries has been supported, 45 IPs have been filed, and 36 products and technologies have been developed. Now, let me introduce you regarding BIPP scheme. This scheme was also this was the second scheme that was launched by DBT in the year 2009. This is a PPP model scheme which promotes innovative research for development of transformational product processes technologies using biotechnological approaches. The scheme serves as a launchpad for validating, scaling, and commercializing high-risk innovations. The IP rights rest with the industry, and so was true for Sbi scheme. BIRAC do not has any rights on the IP. It doesn't take any part in the IP. Financial support is provided to large, medium, small scale startups. Up to 50% of the project cost is given as grant in aid by BIRAC. And as in Sbi, collaborative projects involving an academic partner, the academic institution is funded over and above the 50% grant provided to the industry. So BIPP program has been categorized into four categories of the project. So category 1 is for the project where the areas lies with when the project has a major social relevance, but their market they have a very uncertain market driven demand. The category 2 proposals are the ones who have high risk and discovery innovation research with relevance for making in India globally competitive. It could be taken as an import substitute as well. Then we have category 3A and 3B, which are of high national importance. 3A is for clinical trials to be conducted in the healthcare sector, and 3B is the agriculture field trials that would be conducted under the agriculture thematic area. Then we have category 4, which is for the development of major facilities which are critical for enabling the innovation. Now, since its launch in the year 2009, this slide has summarized the impact that has been created by BIPP scheme. Under this scheme, we have received so far more than 1,300 proposals and more than 200 has been supported. 32 IPs have been filed and 56 products and technologies have been developed. Now, this is one of the very important aspects of the BIRAC schemes that are run by BIRAC. So, this is the royalty. Irrespective of the schemes, BIG, Sbi, and BIPP, royalty at 5% of annual net sales of the product which is developed through BIRAC assistance is payable to BIRAC, and payment of royalty shall fall due beginning with the first sale of the product, and the liability to pay the royalty terminates once the royalty amount that has been paid by the company equals the amount that has been disbursed by BIRAC. So this was regarding the Ifos program, which is run by BIRAC and includes BIPP and Sbi. Now next is the PACE program, which is promoting academic research conversion to enterprise, and this particular program is curated for the academic institutes as the primary applicant. It has again two components: AIR, Academic Innovation Research Scheme, and CRS, which is the Contract Research Scheme. Under AIR, the scheme promotes development of proof of concept for a process or a product by an academia with or without the involvement of an industry. And for CRS, it aims at validation of a process or prototype which is developed by the academia by the industrial partner. So coming to the details of AIR scheme, the type of project supported. The projects which have well-established proof of principle and can lead to the development of a prototype of a product or a technology having national relevance or having a commercial potential are supported. The important thing to note here is that the basic or the exploratory research and the projects having no established proof of principle or having no commercial potential are not supported. The duration of the project should not exceed 24 months, and the funding support is under this program, funding support do not exceed rupees 50 lakhs. IP rights may be with academia alone if they are applying as a sole stakeholder, or it can be shared between academia and the industry as per the understanding between the two partners. BIRAC don't have any role in this. Then who can apply? Academic institutions, either public or private, university, NGO or research foundations which have a well-established support system for research shall be the primary applicant, and they can apply either individually or jointly with another academic or an industrial partner. If it's an industrial partner, then the eligibility criteria which were laid down under the Ifos program also are eligible or also applicable to the AR scheme and the CRS scheme as well. So for public or private institute, university, NGO or research foundation, proper registration, accreditation from a government body is mandatory, and the participating companies should be under the should have been established through Indian Companies Act 2013, having at least 51% Indian shareholding. For contract research scheme, academia must have an established POC, which should be evident by scientific data, which is ready for validation by the industry in a contract research mode. Academia need to be the primary applicant with one or more partners. Of one, it should be at least a company who would be carrying out the validation part. Funding is provided in the form of grant in aid to both the academic as well as the industrial partner. And in this particular scheme, the industrial partner is not expected to make any contribution. And as far as IPR guidelines are concerned, so the IP rights reside with the academia, but the industrial partner has the first right of refusal for the commercial exploitation of the new IP that has been generated. So other than these administrative eligibility criteria for AO, we have also included certain technical eligibility criteria so as to just, give a strong message out that only the translational projects which are taken up by the PIs would be supported. So in this regard, the applicant must have completed at least one extramural funded project in India, and the project must have been funded by a government funding agency or any industry, and the sanction order in this case should be uploaded along with the application as a proof. Second point is that applicant should have authored at least one publication in an index journal as a first or a corresponding author, or should have at least filed one patent in a similar area as proposed under their AIR application. And the applicant must upload the relevant proofs of their manuscript or filing documents of the IP while they are submitting the application. The evidence of proof of principle and the preliminary data that has been generated by the PI should accompany their application, and it is a mandatory requirement, absence of which can result in disqualification of the proposal. Then a justification on how the project on completion would be CRS ready must be included. Therefore, the proposal should include the strategy for taking forward the outcomes and results toward product development with an industrial partner. All these headings are made as a part of the application form itself. So when you are filling the form, you'll see the relevant headings which are required to be filled in. The proposals involving agriculture should have viable product technology as an outcome that can be considered for advanced trials by the industry or the authorized national agency. And if the AIR proposal has an industry participation, then the partnering or the collaborating company or an LLP should be more than 5 years after incorporation. They should have their own, it should be an established company, and applicants are encouraged to have industry partners in order to demonstrate translational strategy, although it is not a mandatory requirement. And the final technical objective or a milestone of the AIR proposal should reflect technology or the result that is near to industry readiness. Now we have certain technical eligibility criteria for CRS as well. So the proposal should be, the start point should be at minimum TRL3. They should have an established proof of concept and should have a validation ready data supporting the proposal, and this need to be uploaded as a mandatory requirement. Absence of the same can result in disqualification. The proposals that have received AR funding, if the current proposal which is being proposed under CRS is coming through AIR, then it should have the same industrial partner who collaborated for AIR project. But in case the academia has collaborated with a different company, they should provide a justification and the clarity on IP governance in their application. Also, the CRS proposal should be accompanied by the commitment letter by the industrial partner to exercise the first right for monetizing the product or a technology. Now, this slide summarizes the impact of the PACE scheme. So far, we have received more than close to 2,000 applications, and more than 100 projects have been sanctioned. 13 IPs have been filed and 7 products and technologies have been developed. Now, this is the challenge call which is open right now under I4 and PACE scheme. The call will close on 31st of March at 5:30 p.m. So, and this is a challenge-based call. So, please go through the RFP that has been advertised along with this advertisement. It is available at BIRAC website. Now, in my next few slides, I would go into the details of the RFP that has been included as a part of this call. First is the healthcare devices and diagnostics thematic area. Under this, we have solutions to tackle mental health problems, digital health and telemedicine solutions using AI and machine learning tools, innovative technologies for diagnosis and management of respiratory illness, including post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation, devices to strengthen Anganwadi workers. Then we have import substitution, which includes development and scale-up of medical equipment such as ophthalmic appliances, endoscopes, gastroscopes, camera-based imaging devices, surgical equipments and devices, anesthetic equipment, CT, MRI, X-ray, hemodialysis machines, etc. Then next is development and scale-up of drug-eluting stents, auditory implants, artificial valves, IV cannulae, catheters, surgical knives, scissors, and blades. Last is the development and scale-up of raw material for dental, orthopedic, ophthalmologic, cardiac, and neurological implants. Now, the next thematic areas are the drugs, which includes drug delivery, biopharmaceuticals, biosimilars, regenerative medicine, vaccines, and clinical trials. Under this, we have advertised the proposals for drugs, including drug repurposing for neglected disease, genetic disease, and rare disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and neurological disorders. Then development of vaccines for neglected diseases and neurological diseases, new methods or technologies of drug delivery, complex generics, new methods and technologies for vaccine delivery and cold chain distribution of vaccines. Then we have pan-corona vaccine and variant-specific product characterization assays may need to be validated with appropriate testing plans and data. Scalable organ-on-a-chip model or platform for disease modeling and drug testing, media development for different biosimilars, stem cell-based therapies for the treatment of various diseases, which includes development of CAR T cell therapy against cancer and other diseases, and the technologies for the manufacturing of clinical grade materials for cell therapy, and methods for delivery of cell therapy products. Coming on to the next thematic area, which is the energy, environment, and secondary agriculture. Here we have advertised strain engineering process development, cost-effective production technologies for the production of enzymes, specialty chemicals, API, bulk molecules, and high-value products, industry relevant bio-based import substitutes, efficient and sustainable biofuels, energy, blended fuels, drop-in fuels, enhancement of methane production from biodegradable biomass, which is dumped in the landfills, and biotechnological routes for decomposition of plastics, microplastics, site-specific remediation of xenobiotics. Then we have biotechnological means for river surface cleaning, water body restoration, and restoration of degraded lands, development of plant polysaccharides as a new source of coagulants, biotechnological intervention of air pollution management, development of plant-based meat products or artificial meat, bioactive compounds from medicine plants having phytopharma application, to establish value addition with infrastructural facilities like sorting, grading, packaging, and processing for horticulture, including organic produce, marine, dairy, poultry, etc. Technologies to enhance shelf life of packaged foods and fruits. Probiotic products for lactose intolerant population. Technologies for production of traditional drinks. Waste management, animal, farm waste, and slaughter waste through biotechnological means. Then we have agriculture. Here we have advertised the areas such as application of digitally enabled disruptive technologies, accelerating the productivity, yield enhancement of oil seeds and pulses. Then gene editing technologies to improve traits like yield, quality, disease resistance in crops, and marker-assisted heterosis breeding for development of improved crop varieties, rapid, specific, and low-cost diagnostic kits for on-site detection of various plant diseases. Smart pest management using nanosensors, nanopesticides, pheromone, post-harvest interventions with special reference to storage, grading, standardization, and quality control of agricultural produce to enhance their value. For veterinary sciences, we have advertised vaccines for small ruminants and pet animals, platform technology for vaccine development for veterinary use, development of diagnostics for zoonotic diseases, particularly point-of-care tests, rapid and cost-effective meat species identification and quality testing, food development for pet animals, improved or novel techniques of cement sexing in farm ruminants, use of biotechnological tools to enhance the digestion and bioavailability of the fibers from ruminants and other livestock, early detection of heat and pregnancy in cattle. For aquaculture, following areas have been advertised: field usable diagnostic kits for disease and algal toxins relevant to aquaculture development through integrated approach, and aquaponics through biotechnological interventions. So this is the broad areas which has been highlighted in the RFP. Other than this, these are the following two very important in my next few slides points to be taken care of. Here we have highlighted what types of projects are supported. So proposals related to process or the product innovation with significant impact or commercial potential would be supported. The developed process should be sustainable from an economic and environmental point of view and should be scalable. Following end TRLs should be kept in mind while applying under various schemes. For air, the end TRL should be 3 and more. For Sbi, it should be 6 or below. And for BIPP and CRS, the end TRL should be 7 and above. What is not supported? So the concepts or the exploratory research ideas without having proper proof of principle in the case of AI and Sbi, and without proof of concept under CRS and BIPP are not supported. Proposals without preliminary data and potential for product technology development will not be supported. And the funding received through these schemes cannot be used to support PhD student research or any other academic research. The grant should not be treated as a research fellowship, and the proposals which do not fall under the above the mentioned priority areas will not be supported. So in my next few slides, I would describe the evaluation and the decision-making process that is taken by BIRAC for I4 and PACE schemes. All the proposals need to be submitted online only. The company or the institute has to register on the BIRAC website and select the relevant call. They need to complete all the relevant information that is provided in the application form and upload the relevant documents and do the final submission. So the broad parameters which are taken up for evaluation, which are with the parameters which are taken into consideration while evaluating a project are first of all, it's the scientific merit of the proposal, the innovation level, the commercial potential or the societal relevance, the approach and methodology adopted to be adopted in the proposal, investigators' credentials, the regulatory issues that may be involved, the preliminary work done. This is a mandatory requirement which is to be uploaded in the application form. The part, if we have a repeated beneficiary, then we do look into the past performance and the track record. Then the time frame provided, proposed to achieve the objectives. So the first step is the area review panel. So for all the proposals which are submitted after establishing their administrative and the technical eligibility, all the proposals are assigned to external reviewers online based on their subject area expertise. And these are the blind comments that we receive from the reviewers, and they are placed before the area review panel committee. So basically, we have 4 ARP panels at BIRAC specifically for each thematic area. The panel 1 is for devices and diagnostics. Then the second panel evaluates the projects that are received under drugs, drug delivery, biosimilars, stem cells, regenerative medicine, vaccines, clinical trials, and biopharma. Then we have panel 3, which evaluates the proposals that have been received under energy, environment, and secondary agriculture thematic area. And the panel 4 evaluates the proposal under the area agriculture, aquaculture, and veterinary sciences. So these panels are comprises of various academicians who are eminent in their field and have a very strong subject knowledge base. And during this meeting, we have our own in-house analysis as well. We have a technical team which comprises of a pool of technical managers who prepare in-depth analysis reports for the proposals and is presented during the ARP review. And based on the comments received and the judgment of the ARP reviewers, the decision is taken whether the proposal is to be shortlisted for further review or it is dropped. Other than the technical in-house analysis, we have financial due diligence as well, where we prepare the IFR, the internal finance report, which is to gauge the financial strength of the company. Because in certain schemes such as SBI and the BIPP scheme, the company itself is also supposed to make a contribution. Then for IP issues, we have our IP cell, which examines each and every proposal to identify the potential hiccups in the path of research or the commercialization. And no project is sanctioned till regulatory requirements are met with. We have a separate regulatory committee who again comprises of the eminent representatives from the different bodies who identify the regulatory requirements for each and every proposal, and we see that all these are complied by. Once the ARP panel has shortlisted the proposals, the company is supposed to present their proposal in front of technical expert committee. So final decision on ARP evaluation is taken by the technical expert committee, which again comprises of both the technical as well as the financial experts. Then review of presentations made by the PI of selected proposals is conducted. Shortlisting of proposals for site visit is done, and the review of any clarifications as and when required, monitoring and mentoring of the project is undertaken. So we have basically 2 very strong due diligences that are held for each and every project that has been recommended for online for the site visit. First is a technical due diligence, which comprises of 2 subject area experts along with our internal technical manager. So team of subject this committee visits the company site in physical form, and they examine the facilities, manpower, budget, timelines, and expertise available with the company. And we also have in parallel the financial due diligence, through which an audit of the financial status of the company by a CA is conducted, and the examination of the key aspects such as liquidity, profitability, debts, and assets of the company is undertaken. So this is the brief of the entire process which I have just indicated. And once all the recommendations of the site visit committee are presented to the tech, the proposal is referred for the consideration of the apex committee, which is the final deciding committee where the proposal is presented, and the final decision based on the technical as well as the financial strength of the company is taken, and the proposal is further recommended for sanction. Then once the proposal becomes an ongoing proposal, it has been recommended and all the due documents are signed. For each proposal, we constitute a PMC, which is the Project Monitoring Committee, which again consists of the eminent subject area experts. 2 experts for each proposal are assigned, and each proposal is reviewed every 6 months. The PI of the company or the academic institute is required to submit their progress report at BIRAC portal, and the evaluation is done either through online PMC, a physical site visit, or present, or the company or the academia may be called for presentation to tech in front of the tech. So all the BIRAC releases are made in tranches for 4 to 5 installments based on the duration of the project. Usually, we have 5 milestones, which includes 3 technical milestones, and at the completion of each milestone, we release a part of the installment as it's provided in the table. So few important aspects that should be considered before submitting the proposal. The applicant should thoroughly go through the RFP document, the scheme document, and they should select a relevant research problem. They should do a thorough survey and the market research. They should be aware of the competition that is available and work out the commercial viability of the proposed technology or the product. They should be aware of the IP and the regulatory aspects. They should have a strong technical team and a proper selection of collaborator. The role of the collaborator should be justifiable. Research on the lab incubation or availability of research lab or the incubation space should be available. The company should have funds to contribute in case of a Sbi which exceeds 50 lakhs and the BIPP proposals. And the deadline to submit the proposal should be carefully kept in mind. Then we have a Sbi program through which we run our SIP Social Innovation Immersion program. So these are the fellowships which are given to social innovators to identify and address specific needs and gaps in the social sector to promote social entrepreneurship. Through this SIP scheme, we have developed 14 Sbi centers to provide the requisite support to social innovators in the thematic areas of maternal and child health, aging and health, food and nutrition, waste to value, combating environmental pollution, and agri-tech. And through this scheme, we provide 50,000 rupees per month as a fellowship, and rupees 5 lakhs is given as a mini kickstart grant, and clinical and rural immersion is undertaken by the fellows. They have access to BIRAC network, and mentoring is provided by the experts at each step, and there are opportunities for future funding to these fellows as well. So till now, 34 Sbi fellows have graduated, and more than 500 problem areas have been mapped in the community at the community level. We have seen 80% success rate with the follow-on funding of these Sbi fellows, and 30 startups have been created so far by these fellows who have graduated, and currently more than 70 Sbi fellows are currently enrolled. So once we are done with the BIPP, next step is the commercialization. So for that, we have our program, this commercialization fund for the startups, which has been supported by BIRAC and the other Indian startups which have the validated products and technologies reaching up to the level of TRL 7 and have high commercial and potential and a national relevance. So the main focus of product commercialization program fund is to deal with the additional financial requirements for preparing the ground for market launch or the test validation in targeted markets, and also the large-scale commercialization of successfully validated products or technologies. It is a need-based financial assistance which is given in the form of grant in aid as per the expert recommendations. This call is open throughout the year, and all the applications are to be submitted online, and the support is provided for up to 24 months. Then again, we have early translation accelerator program, which is to add the translational component to the young academic discoveries. And the main aim is to focus on the catalyzing transformation of young academic discoveries which may be in the form of publication or a patent with possible commercial and societal impact, into economically viable ventures and technologies. So who can apply? National institutes with demonstrated experience in performing translational activities in the proposed area, government-funded laboratories, national research laboratories, and bioincubators are eligible to apply. So the main objective is to scout the potential technologies and to define the focused areas and collaborate with external organizations for specific expertise towards accelerating the TRL levels that have been achieved. Then multiple projects can be run through the ETA in parallel just to ensure their success. The projects are supposed to be completed within the timelines of 12 to 18 months. At times, it can increase to 24 months. Then the budget for core module of ETA should not exceed rupees 1 crore. And for each, so the budget which will be not more than rupees 200 lakhs for each ETA project. The objectives and the activities for each project is recommended by the ETA expert committee. Then the main basis for the selection of the projects through each ETA is basically the availability of data, the clarity on the objectives which has been proposed, and the strength to accomplish the objectives, the commercial potential, national importance, and whether the proposal meets the mandate of the ETA. Currently, we have 4 ETAs running in India right now. First one was by CCAMP Bangalore, which has the projects in the area of healthcare. The next one is by IIT Madras Bioincubator in the area of industrial biotechnology. Then we have BETIC at IIT Mumbai, again in the area of devices and diagnostics. And the fourth one is Yanapoya Foundation for Technology Incubation in the area of healthcare. Then we have various programs for enabling services to promote innovation ecosystem and have so that the grantees have the access to research resources, IP management, regulatory support, mentoring, capacity building, and networking. We have one more program, which is the Bionest Program, which is for through this program, BIRAC nurtures the biotech entrepreneurial ecosystem by providing the startups with the incubation space and high-end equipments, as well as the technical marketing and business mentoring support. And through this project, we have so far supported 60 bioincubators, through which more than 830 incubators have been supported. Other than these, we have certain equity schemes as well, such as the Seed Fund, Leap Fund, and the ACE Fund. Then we have BIRAC Path Scheme, which offers a wide range of IP and technology management services such as patent searches, patent drafting, filing, technology evaluation, marketing, and facilitating technology transfer. And all BIRAC supported innovators are eligible to apply under BIRAC Path Scheme. Then we have our monthly Biotech First Hub, which is conducted on every Friday of each month, first Friday of each month, to provide the facilitation of innovation and regulation for startups and innovators. The panel comprises of various representatives from DBT, BIRAC, ICMR, CDSU, and other regulatory agencies of India, and various individuals, startups, or companies can put in their queries and get it resolved by the experts themselves. So this is my final slide, which comprises of the impact, which just shows the impact BIRAC has created so far. So just to summarize, through BIRAC support, more than 150 products and technologies have been developed, and more than 900 startups, entrepreneurs have been supported. So this is the email ID. In case you want to have, if you have any queries or any issues while submitting the proposals, you may write to us at investment.birac@gov.in. I will conclude my presentation here and will open for any questions from the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prachi, for such an insightful presentation about various funding programs. So we are open for questions now. Okay, so there is one question regarding the AIR. Applicants must have a project of 3 years, an industrial partner must be incorporated for at least 5 years. Is there any exception to this rule? What is the point of putting such barriers if these grants are there to promote innovation?
So basically, this has been recently introduced to, only support those projects who have an established, some proof of principle is there. So it doesn't starts with idea. So as far as the industrial partner is concerned, it is not mandatory to have an industrial partner under AIR program. But in case you are coming with an industry partner, it would be good if you come up with an industry who is, a mature industry, who will add on to the basic how do I put it, the main brain the main thinking behind launching AIR scheme was to create a pipeline for a CRS project. And for CRS, under CRS, so the validation of the developed technologies is considered. So if you come up with an industry which do not have its own in-house R&D, which is, don't have the required setup for validation and scale up, then it doesn't make any sense to make them your collaborative partners under CRS. But like I said, for AIR, you don't have to be, come with an industrial partner. It's not mandatory. But for CRS, this becomes a mandatory rule.
Okay, so there's another question from a participant. He says that he is an independent doctor in private practice, and how he is eligible to apply along with the industrial partner. Probably they are at TRL 6 or 7.
We need, this by independent, I mean, he must be having some clinic or something. Can just clarify on that, because certain foundations, NGOs are also supported. So some affiliation would be required for them, or they can, ask, they can collaborate and make whatever their collaborating institute is. They can, or the hospital as the primary applicant, and they can get associated as a consultant in that project if they are aiming for AIR program. So
okay, he says that he works at a corporate hospital. Yeah, but I do not want to involve them.
yeah, so like I said, they can be an independent consultant associated with the project, but some other academic institute or the hospital would have to be the main applicant. The support is not for the support under AIR is not for the individual entrepreneurs. So basically, an institute is supported.
Yeah, he's looking forward for the BIPP scheme.
Yeah, so for BIPP, the primary applicant has to be a company or an LLP. So if they establish their own startup as a private limited company or as an LLP, then they would be eligible, but they have to create a startup before, in whichever call they choose. It has to be, the incorporation date should be before the last date of the call. So if it's 31st March for this call, the incorporation date should be prior to 31st of March.
Okay, the presentation is available at our YouTube channel as well, and we'll be sharing the recorded slides or recorded presentation, or you can get the email address in that presentation. There were a couple of questions regarding that. Okay, so we are based to high value LLP registered company, and all the research that we have conducted is through our own observation. Currently, we are in a position that we need an investment and academic partnership. So how do we get about BIRAC for applying for BIRAC?
So it all depends on the TRL level they are at. I believe they are from industry. So based upon the TRL level of their current work, they can apply under Sbi or BIPP. So for Sbi, the minimum TRL is You can, if you even have some preliminary data, proof of principle available with you at TRL2 or something, you can apply. Sbi is also for, establishing the proof of concept.
Okay, so then there's another question. I would like to establish a startup as a CRO in the field of stem cell-based drug discovery platform and CRISPR-based gene editing services to academia and drug discovery industry. Can you please connect me to the relevant people, a business planner, market investigator?
So for that, you'll have to, just write to us, and we'll try to connect you to the suitable group who, do these partnerships. So we will forward your request to them, who will help you in establishing the contacts.
Okay, so there's one question. Can we submit proposals in healthcare devices and diagnostics not covered in the area mentioned in the PowerPoint slide? I think you
So
can. Yeah.
no, so for this particular call is a challenge-based call. So
Okay.
only areas which has been under advertised in this RFP would be considered as eligible. And in case you have an area which doesn't fall under this, then just wait for our next call, which would be launched on 15th of June. That call is going to be an open call, a general call where all the areas are eligible and would be considered.
Okay, so there's another question. As the participant has asked, as a primary patent holder, how can be more involved that being only a collaborator?
I didn't get it, sorry. So which scheme they
So
want to
how
apply?
I think he wants to apply in PACE. BIPP, sorry. This
BIPP.
yeah,
So
stuff.
for BIPP, the primary, I think he's if I'm not wrong, he's the same person who said that he would be opening
Doctor.
up the startup. So if it's a startup, if it's a private limited company or an NLP which you are incorporating, then you can be the primary applicant. It's just that the 51% Indian shareholding should be maintained. No issues with that. The BIPP scheme is for industry only. The primary applicant need to be the industry. And the company should have the patent. So you'll have to transfer your patents from an individual names to the company.
Okay, so there's another question regarding the qualification. Is there any condition like PI should have a PhD degree?
No, there is no
No.
criteria like that.
Okay, so let's just move to question answers. Is there any condition? Okay. I think we have covered most of the questions. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, there is one more question. I think this was the first question. So there is a significant. So a participant wants to ask, there is a significant gap in training life science biotech students, university faculties for industry readiness. Does BIRAC support any initiative project if a startup plans to bridge this gap of the practical technical training in any industry
Not right
friendly
now,
setup?
not right now, but we do conduct our own workshops, at various universities and various other places in collaboration with the companies itself, just to, uh, cultivate the various skills which are required in this sector. So time to time, BIRAC, we were not doing it in a very good potential right now for the past 2 years, but now since the things are back to normal, so I hope we would again catch up with the pace of these workshops and hands-on skill training workshops again. And so that's how we do. But yes, currently we don't have any scheme per se where such proposals are supported. Right now we don't have.
Okay, the same person has asked, he's the patent holder, but he is being associated with the startup. In this project, the clinicians' input and team members' input are involvement is critical. If I'm not the PI or co-PI, who will fill the gap?
So if you have the patent and usually what happens, the company who is the main applicant has to license out the technology. They cannot work on the technology of some other individual. In this case, that's you. So in this case, what I can suggest you is that you'll have to, uh, under BIPP, the primary applicant is this only, and you be a part of the company, maybe in some part-time basis or something, so that you become eligible. Because company in itself, if the technology doesn't reside with company, then it won't be eligible. The IP rights need to be with the company. Or in case you think.
So Yes, Prachi?
Yeah, so in case, if I get more details of the project level, they are in exactly what they want to propose in their study, whether it falls under CRS, because for mature technologies, but then yes, the IP issue will again arise. So I can only suggest that he may, be a part of that company and then apply, but then he has to, transfer his technology to the related company has to license out the technology before they become eligible.
Okay, Prachi, so if you can just share your email address in the chat box to everyone.
Yes, I'll do that. Give me a minute.
Okay, so anybody who has any questions or want to share the data or proposal, so they can share on this email address. So, any further questions from the audience? So, I think there are no further questions from the audience, or if people are having questions if they feel they have questions later on, so they can write to Prachi directly. Yeah.
They can just send me an email and we'll provide any clarifications they may need.
Yeah. So we have, okay. So Prachi has shared the email address.
I hope it's visible because I can see the chat that we can't.
I'll just share it again because I think it's not visible to everyone.
Okay. So any questions,
so
if they are unanswered, they can always write to us and I'll try to clarify whatever queries they have.
I think there are no further questions. So thank you so much everyone for joining this webinar regarding the funding opportunities with BIRAC. And thank you so much, Dr. Prachi, for such an insightful session regarding the opportunities at BIRAC. And thank you so much again for joining. And I will be closing this session.